Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished guests, welcome to Vision India. Plan, develop and ascend. A platform dedicated to architect the blueprint of a Neo-India. It is my distinct honor to introduce Mr. Abhishek Mishra, Professor at IIM, former Minister of Skill Development Uttar Pradesh and former Minister of Legislative Assembly, to commence today's Creative Economy Summit. I would request Mr. Abhishek Mishra to please come up on stage. Thank you so much, sir. Can we have a big hand for sir, please?
Thank you very much. Good morning, Mumbai. Thank you. Can we do it once more? Good morning, Mumbai. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to welcome you all to this session on the dynamic interaction of creativity, the orange economy, and soft power. Across the world today, nations are realizing that it's not just manufacturing, it's not just technology, and traditional sectors like mining and natural resources that will give you an edge. Increasingly, values being created through ideas, imagination, and cultural expression. Together, what we like to call creative economy. This is what we also refer to as the orange economy, or an ecosystem where creativity, culture, design, food, expression, media, technology, and business, increasingly entrepreneurship comes together to generate both economic opportunity, prosperity, and global soft power. Today, creativity is fueling innovation and culture is shaping identity. And when the two combine at scale, they become a powerful source of soft power. Soft power that is manifested across the world in multiple countries. If you give an example, you look at the United States soft power and how Hollywood has homogenized that culture across the world, the expectations, the food, the culture, the dress, the denim, everything there. If you look at exports from South Korea, today, K-pop is worth more than $10 billion. UK alone exports about $125 billion of soft power. And India is expected to grow to about $100 billion of exports in the next 10 years' time. Today, we also command one of the largest manufacturing of movie industry. About 2,000 movies get made in India today. So this opportunity before us today is how policy, governments, academics, industry, professionals, and entrepreneurship works together to unlock that potential. And to do exactly that today, how creativity and culture become an asset for a country, we are here to discuss with our experts who will throw light on this and how India can traverse that journey. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our distinguished panelists to the stage. First, as you would have seen, this gathering is vibrant and live today with expectations. And now it's the time for lights, camera, and action. Please welcome our most respected Mr. Ritesh Deshmukh, a trio of talent and of Indian entertainment. As an actor, he brings stories to life. As a director, most welcome. As a director, he crafts unforgettable experiences. And as a producer, he's proven he's got the Midas touch, creating films that entertain and make box office magic. A true ambassador of the creative economy. He's a creative force that wears many hats. Please welcome a powerhouse performer and a true gentleman with his signature infectious smile, Mr. Ritesh Deshmukh. Thank you for joining us. Now I invite a very dear friend, a dear colleague, and a very respected name in academia in this country today, Professor Amit Karna from IIM Ahmedabad, whose work has significantly contributed to shaping conversations around innovation and policy, and whose perspective will help us connect academics, policy, and global influence. His interest lies in the area of strategy, innovation, and entrepreneurship. He is a faculty co-chair of Creative and Cultural Business Program at IIM Ahmedabad, a program that is designed to support and develop businesses and entrepreneurs working in the creative and cultural domain. Thank you so much for being here, for joining us here. I now request our Honourable Member of Parliament, Shri Rajiv Rai ji, to please come on the stage to felicitate them and also give a welcome address for them.
I would not say good morning Mumbai, Suprabhat Bharat, good morning India. Because this Mumbai is not only the capital of Maharashtra, this is the capital, financial capital of our country. और पूरे देश से लोग यहाँ आते हैं, देश की अर्थव्यवस्था, मुंबई और इकोनॉमी सब में अपना योगदान देते हैं. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of my leader, behalf of party, on behalf of all of you, I welcome these two great dignitaries on dais. I don't need to introduce them. Abhishek has already done that. और जब हमने क्रिएटिव इकोनॉमी की बात सुनी, सोची, तो हमें वर्सेटाइल पर्सनालिटी रितेश में मिल गया. प्रोड्यूसर कहें, डायरेक्टर कहें, एक्टर कहें, या इन्होंने अपने रील के से जो सटायर करते हैं, प्यार से मारते हैं, समझने वाले के लिए मैसेज क्रिएट हो जाता है. सो एंड देन वी हैव अ प्रोफेसर फ्रॉम IIM. होप सारे लोग इसको सुनेंगे. ये हमारा चौथा इवेंट है जब देश के नेता जुमलों में, झूठ में, नफरत में, पार्टी तोड़ने में, जोड़ने में, सरकार बनाने में व्यस्त थे. तो हमारे नेता सोचते हैं कि स्टार्टअप के लिए हम युवाओं के लिए, देश के लिए क्या कर सकते हैं. देन वी हैड स्टार्टअप, फर्स्ट इवेंट ऑन स्टार्टअप इन बेंगलोर. देन वी केम अप विद द आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस इन हैदराबाद. तीसरा इट वाज देयर इन भुवनेश्वर ऑन होलिस्टिक हेल्थ. और जैसा कि मैंने बोला कि फाइनेंशियल कैपिटल है, दिस इज द राइट प्लेस फॉर द समथिंग लाइक क्रिएटिव इकोनॉमी, एंड मेनी मोर आर इन वेटिंग in India, outside the UP and inside the UP also. So let us welcome our guest. Hope you will have a great day. You will learn something from here, and certainly then you also start creating much in better way our economy. Thank you. Have a good day. Please come and take over.
Well, thank you for being here. It's a great honor that you both could find time for us. And the agenda is creative economy. And let me start with Ritesh, with you. You wear many hats, right? You've been an actor. You are an actor. You are a director. You're a producer. You're also very active on social media, which I think the entire country loves, along, with your better half. And I hope she's watching this someday. And, I'm sure the country would like to say that they probably love her more than what they love you. But at least take that message back home as well. And which role is it that is closest to your heart? It might be a difficult question to discern, because I'm sure you traverse all of them and you do it so beautifully. The country loves you for that. We all are huge fans for that. But which role do you enjoy at the maximum?
First of all, good morning to everyone, and I just want to personally thank Akhilesh for inviting me to this wonderful event,
Thank you.
Vision India. I think it's a great initiative to get various minds talking about various issues, and probably some things from here could enlighten other minds, and that's
Sure.
a wonderful start. Yes, my journey has been a very different one. I am an architect. I started acting by chance. I never intended to be an actor. मैंने कभी सोचा नहीं था कि मुझे एक्टर बनना है और एक मौका मिला मैंने वो ले लिया क्योंकि कभी-कभी जिंदगी में आपको ऐसे मौके आते हैं जो
जिंदगी बदल
सकते और दोहराए पे होते हैं. It's a crossroad. You're not too sure whether you want to stick to architecture or try something new.
Right.
And I'm really glad. और मैं बहुत खुशनसीब था कि मेरे पिता उस वक्त महाराष्ट्र के मुख्यमंत्री थे. मेरी माँ, मेरे परिवार ने कभी ये नहीं कहा कि अरे ये मत करो, यहाँ क्यों जा रहे हो. तो उन्होंने हमेशा यही कहा कि जो तुम्हें सही लगता है उस वक्त उसे आप कीजिए. तो ये बहुत बड़ी सीख थी मेरे लिए कि जब मैं आज बाप बन चुका हूं तो मुझे भी जानना बहुत जरूरी है कि मैं अपने बच्चों पर अपनी आकांक्षाएं न थोपूं. कि
Follow your heart, follow your passion.
I think that's very important. So coming to the point, yes, I became an actor. एक्टिंग के 10 साल करने के बाद फिर मैंने फिल्में प्रोड्यूस करना शुरू किया. फिर 10 साल प्रोडक्शन के बाद 20 साल जब इस फील्ड में हुए फिर मैंने डायरेक्शन किए. दिस वाज a journey, a process.
Right.
Social media just happened during COVID.
Right.
But I just feel that when you ask me which is the role that I really enjoy, I really don't differentiate between any of these.
roles, okay.
I think I wake up every morning to do something today that I can do better than what I did yesterday. That's about it.
Right. You also have done a lot for the vernaculars. I think that's something which you've created a very, very strong positioning and niche for yourself as a brand, as a creator and a creative person there. So how did you get attracted towards the vernaculars? Because that was not something which was very big 20 years ago or even 10 years ago for that matter.
To just understand that the birth of the film industry happened here in Maharashtra, in Mumbai. And a Marathi man, Dadasaheb Phalke, started this journey.
Right.
Having said that, of course, I'm not trying to make a divide here, but I guess people across India came and made this whole cinematic journey their own, and it started building. The reason why the headquarters of Indian film industry then was Mumbai.
Ji.
Then regional cinemas started developing, stronger industries started coming up, developing, even in Tamil Nadu or Karnataka. And to know that Telugu itself didn't have headquarters in Andhra Pradesh, then Hyderabad,
Right.
up to 25 years ago.
Sure.
So they were producing their films back from Chennai. And then they were producing in Chennai but making films for Andhra Pradesh then.
Right.
So the whole thing is that when Hindi films started becoming bigger, the Marathi content started shrinking.
Right.
Because the priority, for example, if I take Andhra Pradesh or Tamil Nadu, the local language or the content that is consumed in their local language is their priority. So Hindi comes second, English will come third. Or whatever they choose, right? And see, similarly with Karnataka or Malayalam. But in Maharashtra, the first choice is Hindi.
Okay.
And the second choice is Marathi.
Is the Marathi. Okay.
And that started depleting in the middle years. But if you go to see Maharashtra population today, it's about Marathi speaking population could be 9.5, 10 crores, 11 crores, I don't know, somewhere or that, which is much more than what a Tamil Nadu or Andhra population is. So you have that many a language speaking population, and we are not making content for them, and that is a problem. And also, what happens when you have films that don't do well? I'll just give you slight economics of Marathi film industry. ज़्यादातर I'm just mixing two languages, so it's probably easier. ज़्यादातर मराठी फिल्में ना जब बनती है तो 3, 5, 6, 7 करोड़ में बनती है, और जबकि टिकट प्राइस में उतना फर्क नहीं है जब आप मराठी सिनेमा देखते हो और हिंदी सिनेमा देखते हो. तो बजट रिस्ट्रिक्शन की वजह से आप उस स्केल की फिल्में नहीं बना पाते हो जिस स्केल की शायद हिंदी या साउथ फिल्में आती है. फिर आपके पास उतने ही पैसे जब आप फिल्म देखना चाहते हो तो आपके पास चॉइस है, यार मेरे पास 200 रुपया है तो मैं 7 करोड़ की फिल्म देखूं या 100 करोड़ की फिल्म देखूं
वाली
जो बड़ा स्केल है, जो बड़ा एक्शन, तो आपको उसमें ज्यादा मजा आता है।
Right.
तो जब ये चॉइस आपके सामने होती है तो वो श्रिंक होना शुरू हो जाता है। बजट श्रिंक हो जाए, कलेक्शन नहीं होते, तो इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट। सो दैट्स द टाइम जब मैंने प्रोडक्शन हाउस मैंने शुरू किया था, तब माय फादर वाज द पर्सन हु सेड दैट यू आर वर्किंग इन हिंदी, व्हाट अबाउट मराठी? सो आई स्टार्टेड मुंबई फिल्म कंपनी एज अ प्रोडक्शन हाउस एंड 10 साल 11 साल हो चुके हैं, 6 फिल्में बनी हैं, सभी 6 फिल्में आज तक हमने मराठी में बनाई हैं। हालांकि मैं हिंदी में काम करता था, लेकिन मुझे लगा कि अपनी भाषा, अपनी रीजन के लोगों के लिए ऐसी फिल्में बनानी चाहिए जो वो देख पाए, और शायद जिस बजट में फिल्में बनती थी उससे थोड़ा और ज्यादा। मैं ये नहीं कहता कि मैंने वो फिल्में हिंदी बजट के हिसाब से बनाई है, लेकिन मराठी की फिल्म के हिसाब से शायद उसमें ज्यादा खर्चा हुआ, ज्यादा स्केल देने की कोशिश की, क्योंकि जब ऑडियंस जाती थी, नहीं यार हमें ये फिल्म देखनी है, लेकिन अपनी भाषा में देखने का उसका एक अलग मजा है। ये चीजें हो रही है, लेकिन आई एम फीलिंग अ बिट डिटैच्ड कि यहां ये हो रहा है, लेकिन मैं किसी और की कहानी सुन रहा हूं। मुझे ये कहना है कि ये अगर आपकी कहानी हो या आपके पड़ोस की कहानी हो, तो ये कहना बहुत जरूरी है। इट्स इम्पोर्टेंट टू रिलेट दैट वे, एंड दैट इज द रीजन वेयर वी इंटेंडेड टू मेक फिल्म्स दैट आर प्रॉब्ली क्लोजर टू हार्ट। ऑफ कोर्स वी वर सक्सेसफुल इन मेकिंग probably few of the biggest hits in the industry, and we were unsuccessful at some times. So it was all a learning curve.
Part of life. Right. So you talked about how the economics could be a vicious circle in capturing what you really can afford to do and not afford to do. If you translate that to the bigger picture, to the Indian film industry as such, do you think the same logic and economic logic would apply to Hindi film industry today as well? Is it also, in some ways, is that a feeling that it's also getting cornered out by other cinema, and maybe not Indian, maybe Hollywood, maybe others? So if I have that 500 rupees to spend, I'd probably go and spend on a Hollywood movie, which is even a larger scale. Do you think that logic is applying there as well? Or Indian film industry as a center and Bombay being the hub for that, do you think we are still in good waters there?
Logically, we proudly speak that we make 2,000 films a year, or whatever the number is. But the truth is, 90% films don't work. Economically, they are unsuccessful.
Right.
So let's understand that when we make movies, around 10% or probably 12%, if a great year, then 18%, films are successful and recover.
Right.
So people, and I tell this to people, बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं जिनको लगता है कि फिल्मों में ज्यादा पैसा बनता है, क्योंकि हम वही फिल्मों के बारे में सुनते हैं जो फिल्में कमाती हैं,
सक्सेसफुल हो जाती है,
और हमें ये लगता है, एंड ये मराठी फिल्म इंडस्ट्री में भी है, कि बहुत सारे नए नए प्रोड्यूसर्स आते हैं, एक बिल्डिंग बना ली, 2 बिल्डिंग बना ली, यार मेरे पास 5-6 करोड़ है, 6 करोड़ में पिक्चर बन जाएगी, 3 करोड़ में बन जाएगी, मैं पिक्चर बना लूंगा इसके। लेकिन इकोनॉमिक्स क्या कहती है, अगर ध्यान से देखा जाए तो अगर 100 फिल्में बनती हैं, उसमें से शायद 10 फिल्में 100 करोड़ के ऊपर बनती है, 5 फिल्में 200 करोड़ के ऊपर बनती है, और 70% फिल्में शायद 10 या 12 करोड़ बनती है। तो 10 या 12 करोड़ आपको लगता है कम है, लेकिन उसकी रिकवरी नहीं हो पाती। हमको लगता है नहीं सैटेलाइट से आएगा, सैटेलाइट को 12 ही पिक्चर चाहिए साल के, या 20 पिक्चर चाहिए, 30 हो गए, और वो जब पिक्चरें लेंगे तो वो बड़ी पिक्चर फिल्में लेंगे, वो छोटी फिल्में नहीं लेंगे, तो आपका सैटेलाइट या डिजिटल से सेल नहीं आता। फिर जब आप छोटी पिक्चर लगाते हो तो सारी बड़ी डेट्स जो होती है बड़ी फिल्मों ने ले ली है, तो जब फिल्में लगाओगे तो वहां पर मुश्किल हो जाती है, बिकॉज दैट्स द टाइम यू डोंट नो, देन यू रियलाइज दैट यू आर कमिंग विद अ बिग फिल्म। आपको स्क्रीन्स नहीं मिलते, क्योंकि थिएटर कहते हैं कि हमारा इन्वेस्टमेंट बहुत ज्यादा, हमें वही फिल्में चलनी है जिसे देखने लोग आने वाले, फिर पहले वीकेंड में फिल्म नहीं चलेगी, लोग नहीं आते, तो फिल्म उतर जाती है। तो ये जो विशियस सर्कल है इकोनॉमिक्स का, कि अगर फिल्में बड़ी बनती है तो हाँ नुकसान भी ज्यादा है, लेकिन रिकवरी होना बहुत आसान है। सो इफ यू नोटिस कि बिग बजट फिल्म्स relatively
do better,
like as a percentage. So you might have 50-60% of recovery, 70% recovery in a bigger film, but if you go to smaller scale films, when 90% average होगा तो शायद 95 तक चला जाएगा कि यहाँ रिकवरी ना हो पाए।
Okay, wow, thank you. I think Professor Khanna, that's a perfect context to bring you in here, and we're talking about the Do you get a sense that this industry is also becoming more and more capital intensive? Is it the same game, that the small entrepreneurs, the small businessman, the small mom and pop store, the small MSMEs are being pushed out of the market? Is it what you think is also happening in the creative economy in India, especially when we talk about movie making business and the OTT business that Ritesh ji just talked about? Do you think it's a trend that you're seeing everywhere else as well, or you would differentiate that? No, I think the creative economy is different, where we can actually, because on the flip side, a thought comes to my mind that what about the memes? What about the social media? There are hardly any capital intensive there, right? And they are doing very well. So look at channels like Coco Melon, 8.5 billion viewership for a single reel. So, but what is your take on that from an academic, economic perspective, who teaches creative economy?
Thank you. Thank you again for having me here this morning.
Thank you,
It's a pleasure to be
here.
a part of this panel. So let me take a broader perspective from what Ritesh ji has mentioned about Maharashtra and about film. If I broaden this to creative and cultural businesses globally, so let me take exactly the opposite view. So let's say in the world, let's say GDP is somewhere around $110 trillion. Right. The creative economy contributes to roughly about 2.5% of it. In India, today we stand at $4 trillion of GDP. We'll be touching 5 in another couple of years. The number is lesser. So we're
not even 3%.
Around 5 billion is what we say as cultural and creative businesses.
Right.
Of course, the number of film and some of the entertainment industries is unclear as an estimate. Because nobody knows how much is 100 crore making or 500 crores and so on. Right. But if the written estimates go, it's about $5 to $8 billion. People are saying that it is almost half of what we truly deserve.
And that would still take it only to 2% of the GDP.
Maybe that will take it to 2%.
Even
so
then.
$5 trillion.
Yeah, so still lower than
it
the
actually
global
become 10
standards.
billion at that point. But I think unlike movies, some of the cultural products that we have, right? Let's say bandhani, steel, Kutch embroidery, chicken curry.
Right.
If it is good, it will sell. So there is no 90-10
rule there.
Into it.
Yeah.
But the problem there is that the artisans and the creative entrepreneurs, the cultural businesses that are running this, by the way, several of them, for example, in Banaras, the Zari tradition has been for 7 generations now. They don't have market linkages.
Right.
One of the good things about, like Ritesh ji very nicely talked about the market segmentation between Hindi speaking and Marathi speaking. Our products are globally acceptable everywhere. And it's end of the day, it's an art. Art has no barriers in terms of language. It just needs to somehow fit in with the consumers. The kind of, let's say, the jacket we are wearing has now become a more of an international wear.
True.
Just that we had to fit in some way.
Yeah.
And that's the missing part in the larger ecosystem. Let's say, I think it was also true in the media economy for a few years back. At some point when Slumdog Millionaire broke the barriers, and now we have seen a few more. The cultural products, I think, lack on 3 basic tenets, and we try at IIM Ahmedabad to also connect these 3 bridges. The first one is that we need to have a consumer linkage.
Right.
There are companies that do it. There are companies, big labels that do it, but all of us know that they often don't let the artisans create and capture the value.
Right.
So getting that market linkage is one. Second, I think there needs to be a design-led innovation in the art. Right? So we always say this, that artisans have to be disciplined. They need to be working on the art. But at the same time, we also need artists who are rebel.
Okay.
Who bring innovation to the art to make it contemporary and global. And I think the third one, you alluded to that, is we have still not been able to use for the cultural products the digital platforms which can give the market linkages. Just imagine the numbers, 800 million internet users, 600 million smartphone users.
Right.
But we hardly see these artisans very good at digital marketing, where they really can reach the customers where customers are waiting. Good thing about these products are these are also for keepsake. Right. Many of these are also heirlooms. So I think there is difference in the way movies are consumed and some of the cultural
Economy otherwise
economy
gets consumed.
is currently kind of working. But to summarize, I think we are still scratching the surface when it comes to some of the cultural products in our
Right. So fascinating that Ritesh, you talked about movies and you're talking about the other aspects of the cultural economy. Let me just pick up that one more thread there. When you talk about the creative economy apart from digital content as such, then which, let's say, if you could identify which are the three sectors of that cultural creative economy that India could focus on, that where we could create competitive advantage for our industry, our players, our designers, our artists, as you said, who can rebel, who can quickly, which are the lowest hanging fruits to create global competitive advantage there?
So I think that's fairly clear when we look at the numbers.
Right.
So handicraft and handlooms are the largest, what we call as a non-farm rural economy.
Right.
So within the rural economy, there is farm, which is the major one, and then there's a non-farm, and these two constitute the largest part of it.
Right.
Roughly, if we look at the numbers, we have 7 million artisans. I think these are the estimates. The real
Right.
number
Yeah,
might be a
nobody's
lot
really
more
counted them.
because
True.
between the ustad and the shagird, there are many who are being
Layers.
trained as artisans. We have 3,000 plus traditional living art forms. I'm not talking about extinct ones.
Right.
3,000 traditional art forms, from Varli in Maharashtra till, Ajrak in Kutch, and all of those we are really aware of. We have about, official estimates say 400 plus living languages.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Recognized.
I think the handloom, handicrafts are the two big ones. It's a
Okay.
textile, which is the entire value chain from weaving to dyeing to, block printing to stitching.
Right.
I think these are the three which would be,
Which were the lowest hanging fruits for the Indian economy.
again, the world population is large.
Yeah.
Indian population is growing. So if you understand the per capita GDP, where we stand today at about $3,000,
Right.
a developed country is known to have 20,000 and upwards, and we are talking about a Vikasit Bharat. Let's also understand that above the roti kapda or makan, every single rupee added to our per capita GDP is going to go for disposable income.
Yeah,
will go
disposable
towards
and luxury. And
media,
handicraft.
luxury,
Yeah.
lifestyle,
Yeah. Consumption.
clothing.
Yeah.
Which means that I think now onwards, the future is going to be extremely bright for creative businesses.
Economy.
And these three are, movie again, there will be a weekly once, weekly twice, you can watch it. But clothing, artifacts, the utensils that we use, Muradabad is
Yeah.
well known for the,
Absolutely.
the
UP
kasa,
has huge
pital.
heritage value there.
I think that demand is going to be amazing for the next 10 years at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and fascinating, Ritesh, I want to come to you on this. So you talked about creative economy and balancing the creative side of it with the economic viability side. Because if in any industry, that's almost like a classic example of entrepreneurship. What you said, in a good year, 10% will succeed, 12% will succeed. In a difficult time, 5 to 7% will succeed, right? So that's what we call an entrepreneurship literature, typical honeymoon period, for example. So if you want to balance creativity and a creative economy, business creation, entrepreneurial ventures, new ventures, promoting artists, and make sure that that is commercially viable at the same time. How do you transcend that? How do you look at that question when you get excited about a project? I'm sure you get excited about so many things, right? You're a creative person. You've traveled the value chain. How do you decide that, okay, these three things are calling out to me, but I think I'm going to match creativity and creative economy with the economic viability aspect? How do you choose?
No, that's a wonderful question, and this is something that I personally battle a lot in producing Marathi films, and I'll tell you why. Because Marathi films are known for its creativity. people say one of the most, and it's true, that most beautiful films are made in Marathi, be it national award winning or sending to Oscars, and they're really made.
Right.
But truth to be told, that many of these films don't find audiences in the theater. And when you make a movie, you make with the intent that it really is made for people
Sure,
to
for the
watch it.
audience.
They really
Yeah.
come
People
and
should
watch
come
it.
and see it.
So and as Mumbai Film Company, we decided that right now what Marathi industry, as an industry needs, is commercial success.
Yep.
Unless and until you have those big commercial success, the perception won't change. Once you have that perception built, then that will filter down to other films. So if you think, oh, Marathi films are made at a certain budget, but there comes a film that is really breaks that barrier, and people really go and watch it.
Right.
Then you feel wow. For example, I'll give you an example. I made my debut in 2014 in a Marathi film called Laibhari. Laibhari. Till then, Marathi films were made with a lot of content, literature-based films, high-end content and creativity. Marathi film Laibhari was an absolute commercial film. So we were not too sure how people are going to receive it.
Take it, right.
Because suddenly a lot of people said, Marathi audience is not ready for such a thing. We are not too sure. ये चलेगी नहीं चलेगी पता नहीं क्योंकि audience ऐसी फिल्में देखती नहीं, ऐसी फिल्में कोई बनाता नहीं, आप ऐसे बना रहे हो, इस budget पे बना रहे हो. पता. So when we released it, we were very lucky that it went on to become the highest grossing Marathi film ever.
Wow,
So for the first time, Marathi film had grossed 40 crores.
Wow.
Okay.
That's huge.
That is huge because films were being at 10, 15. There's couple of films that had done 15 or 25 crores. And then this film went on to do about 40 crores.
Yeah.
But what happened, within 6 months, another film came and did 50 crores.
Oh,
Then Sairat came
right.
and did 100 crores.
Oh, wow.
So now suddenly you had Marathi film Laibhari came in 2014. It did 40 crores. In 15 there's a film that did 50 crores. And by 2016 there was Sairat which did 100 crores.
100 crores.
And that for another 7 to 8 years, films didn't work with that scale. So we thought that probably there'll be a momentum where audience will come
Yeah,
and keep watching,
yeah,
but suddenly it wasn't there. So, because Hindi films are still going with their 100, 200, 300 crores, but Marathi films started losing steam. So see, the idea is that the onus, again, because that's not the only content Marathi people are consuming. They're consuming Hindi content also. So it even becomes difficult.
Right.
Because you have to keep your eye on the ball in terms of what Hindi is doing now. South dub language is also being consumed. Be it Pushpa, be it KGA, be it Bahubali. And their narratives is different. They are making films with Indian emotion. So suddenly you find yourself cornered to see how you can figure out what kind of films you want to make that will be commercially viable.
Right.
And that's why whenever we, at least currently at this point, as a company, Mumbai Film Company, we decide that story is great unless and until I think it's commercially viable, we will not put our money there. Let's make films that are commercially successful, and then probably that will give us a chance to make films that are creative, where we can probably take a chance.
Right.
Make films that really make.
If the content is so strong and falls out to you, then we can risk it.
But many a times, even if I feel, this is a beautiful film, but I'm not too sure how I'm going to push it to the audience. So I'm not convinced myself that I'll be able to get the audience to the theaters. So that's a challenge.
Right. And I don't want a specific number for this, but is there a cutoff benchmark percentage in your mind that, look, I want to invest so much money, X amount, and I want to make at least a decent amount of return? Is there a number that you work with in your mind that, look, that return should be 5%, 10%, 20%, 30%? Or I know you could want anything, but
not really. I mean, at least when we do films, we realize that, and there are certain things, right? If someone comes and tells me, ये पिक्चर है 3 से 4 करोड़ में बन सकती है, आई से ये नहीं बनाते हम लोग, क्योंकि ये आप सोचते हो 3 से 4 में बन जाएगी, लेकिन बनती नहीं है,
बनेगी नहीं,
ये बनती नहीं है. हम लोग सोचते बहुत है, नहीं बनती है. I said let's make like, in fact, I'll tell you, I met couple of studios and all the top studios, and I told them, there is a captive audience there. They speak a certain language. I said, if individual producers start making films, that they'll never work. But if you develop the industry,
Yeah.
it will be there for all of us to create content that can cater to the audience.
Audiences.
So it's not about me. I told the studios, I said 3 studios, 4 studios come together, set aside a certain budget. You are thinking you want to make 4 films in 3 crores. I said, leave that aside. I said, set up a 3-year plan. Try investing 100 or 200 crores each,
Right.
making, say, 7 films each.
Yeah.
And reason why Marathi films, we need to make, it's a star-driven industry. That star could be an actor, could be an actress, could be a director, producer, star-driven.
Right.
Eventually, the biggest star is the film. The
Sure.
film has to work.
Sure.
But to get that opening, it's important that we develop stars, we develop these directors, we back these actors, actresses. Because see, today, if there's a Hindi film and I want to go to Ranbir Kapoor and he says no, then I might have Ranveer Singh, I might have Shahid Kapoor, I might have Vicky Kaushal. If I want to go to Shah Rukh Khan, then I might have option of say Ajay Devgan, Amir Khan, Akshay Kumar, Salman Khan. I have options.
Right.
If I want to go to Alia or Kriti Sanon or Kareena, I have options. The industry has made these various options for people to explore. But in South, when it comes to Marathi, the options are very few.
Very limited.
And very limited. So the choices of films also are very limited. You can't do it because you feel, I don't have an actor to pull this film off. So there are various limitations
Sure.
within that zone. And when coming back to the question, when you say that do you put a certain budget to do it, I feel there is a mid-level range right now in Marathi films. And I truly believe that if we are able to give an experience to the audience at a certain budget, a mid-side, a good, decent budget, and a great budget for Marathi, then audience will definitely come, provided the stories are good.
Okay. Let me look at it from the creative economy like an ecosystem view. So you talked about availability of talent in that sense, and also the financial model there, right? So it's almost like creating a business model for the industry.
I'll just correct. I didn't say talent is available.
Sure.
There are talented actors in Maharashtra, tremendously talented.
Unbelievable talent.
Okay, I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm saying there is a certain project, and don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that where we need to back new actors to become stars or good actors, our actors are not backed enough
With
to
finance.
get their stardom up high where it's driven. So I feel Marathi industry has
Phenomenal talent.
phenomenal talent. They are great actors, but as producers, we are not able to back them with the kind of zest that we should.
Right. Okay. Professor Khanna, I want you to come in here and think about, I'm looking at it more from a business model perspective and a financial model perspective. Do you see that, how would you solve that problem if it was to come to you? I'm sure you work with creative economy, you teach creative economy at Ahmedabad. How do you create a business model around creative economy? Because as Ritesh just said, creative economy is very different from a traditional economy, right?
Yes.
You need so many more things to come together. What is that source for success, if I could ask you that?
So before I go to the source
Yeah.
for success, I think Ritesh ji mentioned a very good phenomena as we call it in economics. The example of 10 crore, 50 crore and 100 crore.
Yeah.
We call this a supply driven demand.
Sure.
So you create a supply, there will be demand.
Yep.
The reason, and this is my guess, the reason that nobody was able to beat that is perhaps the frontier was pushed too outside and there was no such creative output that really excited people, right? So if somebody was to make something better, I'm sure it would have pushed to a 500 crore as well. By the way, this also happens a lot in real estate economy that
Sure.
you create the roads and buildings and demand will get created, right?
Yeah.
And this is, I think, one of the hallmark of lifestyle products or creative cultural
Economy
products
products,
that you need to make sure that you have a handle on the supply. In fact, why just talent and capital? I think if you get a great sound studio, you will get it. If you want a great the cinematography,
Cinematographers,
you'll get it.
scriptwriter, yeah.
Editors.
Yeah.
So I think the
Choreographers.
ecosystem
Yeah.
creation, which is, just think of Milan as for fashion, Hollywood for, or Mumbai for Bollywood and
For
Hollywood.
movies, yeah.
So I think for every such economy, there needs to be an ecosystem where the supply is able to be organized. See, for any product, there is no dearth of demand in India ever. You create a road, it will be used. You create good products, they will have demand.
Right.
But I think getting a scale is a problem. And I think there's a similar struggle that I see also in movies, that because people keep moving genres. And
Right.
then a Pushpa comes and suddenly becomes a hit because that genre is going.
Yeah.
Somebody trying the same thing is not going to work. So I think that innovation, trying to push the frontier, that making my art, making my product better than what the customer would be expecting, and exciting them by saying something new. As in, it is creative.
Right.
You need to create always something new and at scale.
And that's scale.
I think this dichotomy has been always a
biggest-
problem.
right, yeah. The
So let's
biggest
say a
hurdle.
production house would like to do this, that, I would like to make only mid-budget and big ones, because there is fixed cost. I want to recover those fixed
Sure.
costs and try to make sure that I make more out of the... But I think the third missing point is a brand. Like you said, there is great talent, but there needs to be some star.
Stars. Yeah.
It could be the product, it
As
could be the
Ritesh was saying.
artisan, it could be the art. As in, for those of you who know, recently Sabyasachi has made sari and kind of, made that as an Indian gift to the global fashion market.
Right.
So sari has become the star, and now people need to kind of build supply chains, communities around that, and then maybe capture value out of it. Perhaps one of the things that is missing in the Indian creators is this ability to do great storytelling. And those who are able to do it have done well.
Right.
But I think that is again something that everybody needs to be a great storyteller, digital or otherwise, needs to have a narrative, needs to make sure that everybody is talking about that virality is required.
Right.
And then comes your actual product should be great. And suddenly if there is a demand,
Then
the
you can
supply chain
capitalize
should
on
not
that.
break down.
Yeah, then you can capitalize on that. Okay. Just one quick one to add on that is you talked earlier about not just the films as a part of creative economy, but other creative economy and the cultural export, products are part of the cultural economy. So there, how would you suggest, you picked on the market linkages there, what would be the maybe like 2-3 ideas that you would suggest a startup or an entrepreneur to look at how to think about market linkages when you're creating a part of the cultural economy? So somebody wants to start a YouTube channel tomorrow, or somebody wants to get into chicken curry in Lucknow, or start a Pital manufacturing company in Muradabad. What would you recommend as a professor of IIM Ahmedabad?
See, one of the things that is often misunderstood is, let me take a normal brand. Let's say we are in Taj, right?
Right.
Tata has a heritage.
Right.
And therefore, Taj is selling an experience, and they are using Tata heritage as telling that, go to Taj, it will be nice.
Trust.
Right? Trust. I think for cultural products, the culture is not just the heritage. It is actually the most important strategic capital for the product.
Right. Okay.
The art, every artist, a true actor would always be in love with the art of filmmaking and the
Sure.
acting.
That's what excites them.
I think that the young entrepreneurs who are getting into, let's say, chicken curry or a Pital based
Manufacturing,
business,
yeah.
they should not treat that as just one brand aspect or one product. They need to understand that that is the strategic capital, and they will do well if chicken curry thrives and more people take up that as an artisanal livelihood for the family.
Right.
If they are true to the art, I think profits will follow.
Sure.
Of course, the supply chain needs to be in place, the market
the
segmentation needs to be in place, the market linkages need to be in place. But being true to the culture and heritage and how can we make it better, just think about all the great chefs that are doing very well. Listen, they are taking Indian
Cuisine is an
cuisine,
important part of
but
the
with that small
cultural
innovation
export, yeah,
where it
creative
should,
economy.
that dosa should fit into the cuisine of a European
Yeah.
in some way that they start yearning for it. I think that bit of innovation to that art requires more artists than just artisans.
Right. So Gruyere cheese dosa might be a good option to that.
That's more in the Ahmedabad or Gujarat.
Let me come to you. You get excited about so many projects. You speak. I'm sure there would be many parallel ideas that you keep working on, right? And then one thing that you would find in creative cultural economy is people discuss their ideas with lots of people, right? You get excited about an idea, you talk to people, right? A very important question then becomes, is intellectual property? How do you ensure that that intellectual property gets captured and appropriated, not just for the economic side of it, but also for the passion side of it, for the creativity side of it, so that you get that due credit for that? So is intellectual property really a challenge in the creative economy that you see? And then what would you do to, ensure that it is protected for you?
I think as films, like you said, we'll discuss ideas, but just what we speak eventually cannot be intellectual property, unless until you put down the paper and you make something out of it,
right.
And then you develop something. And probably, I'm just talking about movies. You make a movie and you're there, and the IP is extremely important. Because there's contribution of so many people, and it could be music. That's a huge IP, and singers who are part of it.
Sure.
And I think it's important as an industry that it starts trickling down to every individual who has contributed in making that. And I think as an industry we are getting there. Music and writers and scripting and everything, because they are basic foundations of any good movie or experience. Having said that, now what happens is, say, social media, and now earlier it was just creative, it was stuck to people who had access, who could create, access to movie producers, actors, directors. Those writings used to come on screen.
Yeah.
But thanks to social media now, every person is creative. They can make their own content.
Yeah.
They can, and some of them are great. And many of the films that we get today with scenes, which are part, and they show us, this is the reel, watch this is the scene that we're going to do.
Yeah.
And as actors, we are like, okay, if that's the way it is, then we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
but now you're infringing on someone else's thought process and IP.
Intellectual
right?
property, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now, I guess if that is adapted, if that is given due respect, permissions are taken, we need to follow that. And until there are certain strict examples being made, they won't be followed. So laws will come into place, and that will really help. So that is extremely important. So as long as we talk about IPs, and but that is only one way, right?
Right.
So if we take something from someone else, then it becomes IP. But the film's dialogues are used on reels, and they are used by people. So
every day.
That is, and they're getting followers or views.
Yeah.
It's okay. That's part and parcel of the game. And but the core issue that as industry still remains piracy.
Yeah.
And that is something that's a
Killing the
huge
industry.
huge
Yeah.
damage.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
because you can only estimate कि piracy से इतना नुकसान हुआ होगा.
Oh.
Because, and also there's something else. For example, if there's a medicine, अगर किसी को आप नकली दवा दे दो, तो जो खा रहा है उसको नुकसान है.
हाँ.
अगर कुछ आप खाने में अडल्ट्रेशन हो, तो आपको नुकसान है, कंज्यूमर को नुकसान है. आप एक गाड़ी दे रहे हो लेकिन नकली स्पेयर पार्ट है, तो आपको उसका नुकसान
सेफ्टी
है.
का नुकसान है.
पायरेसी एक ऐसी चीज है जहां पर जो यूज कर रहा है उसको कोई नुकसान नहीं है.
सिर्फ बनाने वाले को नुकसान है.
तो जो कंज्यूम कर रहा है उसको बिल्कुल नुकसान नहीं है. तो
वो खुशी खुशी कंज्यूम.
नहीं, तो सिस्टम भी ये सोचती है, जब लोगों को परेशानी हो, तू इतना परेशान क्यों हो रहा है? तो जब सिस्टम ऐसा सोचती है, तो वो परेशानी बहुत ज्यादा हो जाती है, क्योंकि नुकसान बनाने वाले को है. और ये क्या है ना, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, आज ट्रूथ बी टोल्ड, कोई भी प्रोजेक्ट कभी भी होता है तो आप एस्टिमेट करते हो कंस्ट्रक्शन में इतना लगेगा, इसमें लगेगा, और एक स्पेशल प्राइस आप रखते हो कि परमिशन और बाकी सब चीजों के लिए एक एक्स्ट्रा अमाउंट रखते हैं, तो वो सब होता है. एंड दिस इज द ट्रूथ, ओके, विच इज फाइन, कोई प्रॉब्लम. ये जब आप इन्वेस्ट करो तो आपको पता है ये खर्चा है. ये आपका नुकसान रिकवरी में है, जिसको आप एस्टिमेट ही नहीं कर पाते. तो हम ये समझ लेते हैं, ठीक है, पायरेसी का जो हो रहा है होने दो, उसके कुछ, बिकॉज वी डोंट नो.
True.
And like we said that the only way इसको अगर कॉम्पनसेट सी टुडे जस्ट टू गिव फ्यू फिगर्स, आज हिंदुस्तान में 10,000 थिएटर्स है, 10,000 थिएटर्स. America has about 45,000 theaters, 35 to 40,000 theaters, and China has about 90,000 theaters. क्योंकि एक्सेस और एक्सेसिबिलिटी ज्यादा है. हमने सिर्फ बड़े सिटीज में कॉन्सेंट्रेट किया है क्योंकि बना है, और विच इज ओके. बट अगर पॉपुलेशन चाइना से ज्यादा है, अमेरिका से 2 गुना 3 गुना ज्यादा है हमारी पॉपुलेशन, तो हमारे पास, जैसे सर ने कहा कि हम लोग सप्लाई चेन, सप्लाई डिमांड, अगर हम लोग फिल्में बना रहे हैं लेकिन उतनी तादाद में उतने लोगों तक नहीं पहुंच पा रहे जितनी तादाद में पहुंचना चाहिए, तो जो कलेक्शन हम लोग आज बहुत ज्यादा खुश है कि धुरंधर ने 1,000 करोड़ किया, होना भी चाहिए 10,000 थिएटर में. अगर वही 50,000 थिएटर हो जाए तो कलेक्शन 5,000. तो क्या होगा कि क्या होता है कि बहुत बार पायरेसी इसलिए भी होती है क्योंकि आपके पास फिल्म जाकर देखने का वक्त नहीं है, बहुत दूर है, बहुत देर लगेगी, मैं जल्दी देख लेता हूं. अगर वो एक्साइटमेंट बनी रहती है तो आई एम श्योर कि बड़े पर्दे पर देखने का अपना मजा होता है. तो ये जब तक इंफ्रा, क्या है, सर ने फिर से कहा कि रोटी कपड़ा मकान, आज रोटी कपड़ा मकान और एंटरटेनमेंट
एक साथ हो गया है.
ये हमारी मूलभूत जरूरतें हैं. क्योंकि क्या होता है कि आजकल हम जिस दौर से गुजर रहे, जितना प्रेशर हमारे ऊपर है, हम स्ट्रेस है, तो कहीं ना कहीं आप एंटरटेनमेंट आपको स्ट्रेस फ्री करने के लिए बहुत जरूरी, चाहे वो कुछ भी हो सकता है, प्ले देखिए, गाने सुनिए, रील्स देखिए, फिल्में देखिए, कुछ भी है, लेकिन ये बहुत जरूरी है.
In fact, this will increase with the advent of AI.
Absolutely. Yeah,
because
absolutely.
AI gives more efficiency, productivity to people.
True.
तो 8 घंटे का 4 घंटे में कर लो.
हाँ, तो बाकी 4 घंटे तो रील्स ही चाहिए.
Entertainment.
So that's why I think आपकी और शीला जी की रील्स आर सुपर हिट.
इसके बाद सब AI में आएंगे, हम लोग कुछ नहीं करने वाले.
हाँ, हाइजन पे जाके एक अवतार बना लेना है और बस उससे निकालना है. प्रोफेसर करना, how do you look at this intellectual property question? One is inspiration is very, very important, right? In literature, we've always talked about, in knowledge creation, we've always talked about standing on the shoulders of giants. कि भाई जो करके गया, we do not have to reinvent the wheel, we have to extend that wheel, right? So where inspiration is obviously taken as a given and proper and prudent, and then the second contrast is in creating intellectual property. So how do you differentiate? What is the business model, especially for the cultural economy there? I mean, you have to get inspired with somebody, right? You look at a channel, you look at a meme, you look at a sher, you look at a shairi, you look at a theater, you get inspired. You want to create something out of it. You read a book. For example, I've seen so many books coming out of novels, right? So you read a book. So where do you draw that line? Or do you think inspiration is okay as long as it is, it recognizes the creator?
So I think it is absolutely not okay because the original creator needs to be able to appropriate value if the original creator has invested into creating that IP. But I think he was absolutely right that if we are not able to manage our supply chain, if we don't have screens, so आगे वाला तो देख लेगा जहां मिल रहा है. But if you make it accessible, it will kind of, so that is one part of having a supply chain. Second, we also need as a country more authentic seals. Right? जैसे FSSAI does it for food. Government has done this GI tagged, so we have more than 500 GI tagged products.
For the
So I
economy.
think some of those things, gold has hallmark, 911.
911, yeah.
So we need more credibility, kind of clear benchmarking and clear seals that will tell us that, okay, this is authentic. And of course, some of the products also have their own natural, like बड़े पर्दे पे अगर देखना है, there is no match to it.
हाँ, ठीक बात है.
But I think at the same time, OTT is a huge market, YouTube is a huge market. If the digital market linkage is well, जिसके पास time नहीं है, नहीं देखना है. In fact, there might be people who will watch it on YouTube for 120 rupees and then go and
watch it on the biggest screen as well, because they just like that. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that comes to a very critical question जो आप लोग लगातार कह रहे हैं, and I think that's what is the world is moving towards, is the digital platforms. The digital platforms pe, what is the impact of digital platforms on the film industry, especially in India, in Marathi, where you are most closely associated with, and also has it changed or impacted storytelling in a way? So, for example, increasingly I've seen studies coming out where they say that, look, the attention span is going down. People can't really read a 10, 12 line email now. They want those, shots and smaller reels and everything. So, is it changing? That's one question. Or they both will be required and there'll be a market for that. So digital content, markets and storytelling, how is that has changed according to you? Or what do you see going ahead in the next 10 years' time?
I feel with the advent of OTT today, there are various options. You're sitting at home, someone is probably subscribed to one, or either you have Netflix or Amazon or JioStar, Jio Hotstar.
Yeah.
So there are, when you open it, it's like going to a grocery store. It's just filled with
Choices.
बटर है तो 10 पैकेट बटर के, शुगर है तो 10 पैकेट शुगर के, तो उसमें आपको चूज करने के क्या चाहिए, करेक्ट है? और आप जा नहीं रहे हो, आप वहीं पर हो, तो नाउ you are the king, you get the
choose.
power to choose, right? And now what happens is, as makers, the biggest threat for filmmakers is the fear of box office. When you remove that fear, the only thing you have is creativity.
Right. Okay. That's interesting take. Very interesting take.
So now the fear is gone that you are looking, no, audience may not like it, यहाँ बोर हो जाएंगे, यहाँ एक एक्शन सीक्वेंस डालते हैं, यहाँ गाने नहीं. तो कभी कभी क्या होता है कि आप उस डर की वजह से बॉक्स ऑफिस ये नहीं चलेगा, तो नहीं कर पाते. अब वो फियर निकल गया, बॉक्स ऑफिस का है नहीं.
Right.
तो अभी सारा जो आपका बोझ है वो क्रिएटिविटी पर आता है.
Wow.
और ओटीटी भी बहुत समझदार है कि उनको पता है कि चाहे वो नेटफ्लिक्स हो, अमेजॉन हो, तो उन्हें भी पता है कि आज इंडियन मार्केट उस तरह बिहेव नहीं करती जिस तरह यूरोपियन या अमेरिकन मार्केट बिहेव करता है. तो जैसे ये आए थे तो बड़े ही क्लासी शोज बना रहे थे और इंटेलेक्चुअल शोज वो चलते हैं, मैं नहीं चलते नहीं चलते, पर उनको पता चल कि सब्सक्रिप्शन उतना ही है. इस देश की जितनी आबादी उतना सब्सक्रिप्शन उनको नहीं मिल रहा है,
नहीं मिलने वाला.
ये उनको फिर समझ में आया कि कॉमन चल क्या रहा है, टीवी सीरियल्स क्या देख रहे हैं, फिर वो सीआईडी फिर वहां पर आने लगा. फिर आपको तो शायद कॉमेडी शोज हो वो नेटफ्लिक्स पर आने लगे, अमेजॉन पर आने लगे, या वो छोटे छोटे शोज बनाने शुरू कर दिए. उन्होंने बोला कि बड़े शोज नहीं बना, सो वो भी इकोनॉमी समझने लगे उनकी तरफ से. और हमको भी ये समझ में आया कि यस, इससे क्या है कि आज जब भी कोई शो बनता है तो ये बहुत जरूरी नहीं है कि उसमें बड़ा स्टार होना चाहिए. बड़ा स्टार है तो ठीक है, बहुत सारे अच्छे अच्छे एक्टर्स हैं जिन्हें शायद मौका नहीं मिलता था कि वो काम कर पाए, उन्हें यहाँ पर मौका मिलता. दे गेट द अपॉर्चुनिटी टू एक्ट. सो मेनी डीओपीज, यू डोंट नीड टू newer DOPs assistants, they are getting jobs. So like he said that once you have more opportunities, there are more people engaged, more employment is generated.
Right.
But eventually most of the digital platforms, whenever they work with, like when you talk about IPs are retained by them. So that's a struggle, and because they fund it and they retain it. So that's the formula they work with.
Right.
I just, like I have a question for Sir here also.
Gee.
There are so many influencers out there, and it's so accessible, it's so democratized that, anyone can today decide to be an influencer.
How?
And now, YouTube, at least there is a certain payment structure. Do you see in the future where people will be starting to make money? Not every influencer is able to make money, right? So some people get views, but there's no money there. Is there a way that a future that you foresee that eventually there'll be a system, and that's of fairness?
Wow.
That yes, platforms will make money, but let that percolate down to people who are
Also
creating
make money.
And that is where, and how soon or how difficult do you think it is?
So monetization of creativity is the question.
I just met last evening on the flight from Ahmedabad to Bombay one of my students, ex-students. She's an alumna of I think 2 years back, and she's now working for a very big FMCG brand. And I was just asking her the same thing, that how has your digital marketing budget changed? An interesting statement she gives me is that our budget is same. The proportion to be given to influencers has exponentially increased in the last 2 years, which means the future is here. Yes, you are right. So who gets more is basically on the number of followers and the number of impressions and the number of So there is a legit payment structure now for influencers that they are being paid for in a very decent amount.
As platform, you're saying?
No, as a content creator.
Content creator.
Yeah.
No, like just give. If there's a content creator, okay, he has a certain following, certain this thing. Yes, film release ho rahi hai, product launch ho raha hai, you will get that brand you've made, right? So you're getting money from the brands, right? I am saying that as a platform, if
As
I'm
a platform,
engaging
it is
with
still very bad. In
I'm
fact,
saying that if you're able to, not every content guy is getting the brand. Yes, true. But as a content creator from the platform itself,
but I think the problem is platforms themselves are struggling to make money
then there's a issue.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. So, okay, so in final analysis, where do you see the creative economy growing? Which sectors, which instrumentalities in the next, what are the top 3 sectors you see maximum dynamism, maximum growth for the Indian economy as such going ahead in the next 5 to 7 years?
Like Sir said that, of course, any creative, any artist today, we spoke about fusion, we spoke about clothes being
Cuisine,
made for global,
food, yeah.
and so are today when we see sitar vadaks or traditional, they are fusing their music, and there's a certain fusion to appeal to a global audience. So I think right now, every aspect, there's tremendous growth. I think the next 10 years belong to creative people.
Right.
And today, we are seeing creative people using social media platform to voice their thoughts, to voice their opinions. You've seen creators becoming MLAs and MPs.
Yeah.
And that's the power that they have got, and
True.
a intent to change. I'm sure they will have that.
For the positive,
And
yeah.
so I just feel that creativity has an immense power, and there's immense growth. And I just feel with time, it just like we discussed, if we have, and I'll talk about cinema, we just need to make more affordable, accessible